Calling the zoning hearing board for Lower Makefield Township for November 1st, 2022 to order. Our first item of business there was a continuance requested for appeal 22-1975 to November 15th.
Yeah, and just to clarify something, Mr. Chair, this one was previously continued. There was a tentative agreement between the parties. They just need a little bit of additional time just to finalize the details, and then we should be good to go for the 15th after that.
Would you like a motion?
Okay, yeah, we'll take your motion.
I'll make a motion to continue appeal number 22-1975 to November 16th, 15th.
I'll second.
Okay, is there anybody online that wants to talk about this at all?
There's no public comment online.
Okay. And doesn't look like there's public comment here. So all those in favor of the continuance?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it carries. All right, on to appeal 22-1978. Are they online?
They are, and they're joining us in the room now. They're in the room with us now.
Yes, hello.
Good evening. First off, state your name and be sworn in.
Sure. Dylan Tung.
Sir, do you solemnly swear testimony about the gift will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir. I do.
Okay, and Adam will read the exhibits in.
Sure. So we have the application is A1, site plans is A2. We have some renderings of the shed as, garage as A3. B1 proof of publication, B2 proof of posting, and B3 is the notice to the neighbors.
Okay, Mr. Tung, you want to discuss what it is you're planning on doing?
Yes, sir. So we are planning on putting an extension for an attached garage onto our home, as well as also running the driveway to said attached garage, as well as also continue the use of an existing shed that was on the property, I believe, from the original homeowner. We are the third homeowner, so we would like to continue use of the shed, especially since it has electrical running to it already, and removing or moving that shed would be a very large feat to do.
All right, questions from the board?
Is it 243 Valley Drive or Valley Road?
So the certain addresses that we get is Valley Drive, and certain addresses say Valley Road. I believe the street sign by Big Oak Road by our house says Valley Drive, but at the other end of the street, which is by Stevens, it says Valley Road.
That's not uncommon in this town.
And actually, I think the dividing line between road and drive is the boundary line between Falls and Lower Makefield. The Lower Makefield addresses are Valley Drive. The Falls Township addresses are Valley Road.
That sounds right.
Okay, so what are your plans to mitigate for the increase in impervious?
So we are planning on installing a rain garden, the details of which we do have our architect, Peter Wassam, here as well, to kind of go over the rain garden. The location of that would be determined based off of the survey.
Peter, do you want to explain?
Is the architect online right now?
Yeah, I'm happy to speak to that if this is the right time to speak to the
You-
stormwater
Can we just-
mitigation.
Can we just have him sworn in, please?
Mr. Lawson, you solemnly swear testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Okay, so I assume you have all received the latest plan. If you have not, we've added the stormwater mitigation information to the plan. And we were hoping for a rain garden. When I looked at the survey that was recently done, I noticed that the professional surveyor indicated a 100-year flood delineation. And if you look at the best practices manual, it's referenced in the ordinance, you got to stay a foot above that elevation at the bottom of any seepage, infiltration trench, or bottom of a rain garden depression. So I opted to show a gravel-filled pit with a volume. They can see my calculations. We derived that by a 25-year, 24-hour storm, collecting stormwater off of the west-facing roofs, which the reason for that is because we've got to stay up high with the seepage pit, which would be on the west side toward where the existing driveway is. And the exact configuration of the seepage pit in terms of length, width, depth will be a field decision once we figure out the exact grading, but the volume will remain the same. And I put in my plans a stipulation that the town engineer or his or her representative would witness, the pit being filled with water and then time how long it takes for it to drain, to corroborate that the soil type that was just a general soil type that I indicated based on an online survey, that in fact it does drain at a rate that's acceptable. And in my drawings, you can see a diagram of a seepage pit and this little surge tank, clean out and splash block and all that, right straight out of the best practices manual. It's not rocket science. We just make sure the numbers match, and the actual field condition will allow for it to be installed as designed and work. Any questions?
Yes, so I'm a little confused. So I see we have 18% allowable and currently you're at 17.8. What is the proposed impervious?
So if you look at the reference survey, I went right off of that, and I added 0.2%, which is a credit toward the proposed impervious. So if you look at my drawing, I'm going to just zoom into my own drawing so I can read off the numbers. The proposed impervious is still at I guess it's at 18%, maxing that out. So we're taking advantage of that 18% max, and then the rest will mitigate, or at least that. If we look at the existing roof of the house, 1,172 square feet, over half of that can be used to mitigate west facing through the gutters, and that in itself will be enough to mitigate 539 plus square feet. The proposed impervious, to answer your question, would be a driveway. Additional impervious would be 182 square feet, plus the garage at 500 square feet, minus a credit of taking out part of the sidewalk with a net 638 square feet, and then minus 0.2% of allowable between 17.8 and 18%. We end up with 590 square feet that we need to mitigate off of the roofs. I don't know if that answers your question, but I guess we're at 18%. That's what we're asking for, with the rest being mitigated.
No.
I think the question is, what's the overall impervious surface when you're all done, which your application and calculations show to be 20.5%.
Correct.
Right,
Yeah,
so- yeah,
that's
okay.
what I was asking.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I wasn't focused on that. So yeah, that's why we're 2.5% over, and it's we're mitigating that amount.
So what I heard is if we do approve it, you're willing to work with the township engineer to get this back to 18%.
Yeah, that's right. So as a stipulation, if we do approve it in the resolution, it would state that we would satisfy any concerns that the township engineer may have. When we get down to the little details that make or break, such as the rate at which it will drain, to make sure we stay above the high flood elevation by 1 foot. And we're very limited there. If you look at the contours, we may end up raising the garage enough so we can slope the new driveway up enough so we can tuck the drainage seepage pit underneath the driveway, for example, as one solution. So we can easily get to it by gravity off the leaders and the surge tank. So we won't know exactly how that's going to work until I detail the addition and figure out the elevations.
Yep.
But I feel confident we can make it work.
Okay, understood. So is the township engineer on board with that?
Yeah, the township can work with that. So the 20.5% mitigated back to what's existing is what our engineer will be looking at.
Did you hear that? The township would be looking to mitigate it back to 17.8%.
And
It's a
that's
minor
actually what's
change.
required by our stormwater management ordinance for it's all of the increase in the impervious surface. It doesn't make a big difference, but
Yep.
just so you know.
Okay, that's an important distinction. So I'll be sure to note that on my revised plans to reflect that.
And so the shed. How did is the shed previously approved or is it just?
I found no permit on record for the shed. I'm not sure when it was built. It's been there for quite some time. It is out of the floodplain. It's half a foot higher than the floodplain, although it is within the easement, but it doesn't necessarily impede the easement. The fence that they're asking for, they actually did get a permit for, and our office issued an error. We had an old plan that didn't show the easement on it, so they just showed the fence on the plan. But then when they came in for this work, I noticed that there's an easement and told them they needed a variance for that fence.
And it rock-
Can I ask a question? Because I'm now really confused. The application asks for an increased impervious surface to 20.5% in order to extend the driveway and construct an attached garage. And then it also asks for a variance in order to permit the existing shed to remain within the drainage easement area. Where's the fence come into this? Because the application has no reference to a fence, and neither of the two plans that I'm looking at have any issue with the fence.
It does say allow existing fence and shed to remain.
All right.
No problem. And like I said, they had an old plan that did not show an easement. Our office issued a permit for that fence based upon that old plan. However, when the applicant came in to look to do additional work, we noticed that there's the easement on the property and that not only was the fence permit issued in error and would require variance, but also the shed that was put up long before Mr. Tung had purchased the property.
And so the easements for Rock Run is,
Yeah, it's an unnamed tributary to Rock Run.
so is it, and it's above grade, right? It's not piped. Or is it piped?
It is not piped.
Can I ask some additional questions?
Certainly.
I just want to make sure the record's clear. So I'm looking at the existing features plan that was provided with the application. That existing features plan does not show the proposed additions, does it? Mr. Tung or the architect?
I don't believe the existing features shows the proposed addition, but the architect's drawings that I submitted do show it. So in combination, they show all of the work.
Okay.
Yeah, I
so-
mean, it's customary for the architect to reference a survey done by a licensed surveyor and then superimpose on that the architectural features. Yeah, if that's acceptable to you.
I just want to clarify. So when the existing features plan shows an asphalt driveway close to Big Oak Road, that's there and going to remain there. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct, and it would just be extended so that way the driveway would have access to the garage.
And according to the plan, the extension to the driveway is going to be 182 square feet.
I do believe so, yes.
And then the garage is going to be 500 square feet.
Peter, I believe that was the correct number, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
And
and if,
then we get a credit for taking out part of the sidewalk, so there's a net, between the three numbers.
so the existing sidewalk that you're referencing, is that the little section that's coming off of the first concrete walkway? I guess you would call it a stub, leading to what's on the existing features plan that says wood steps.
Yeah, you're
Correct.
exactly right.
Okay. And are those wood steps going to be totally removed, that first set?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
those would be absorbed into the garage.
So how much room will there be roughly between the garage addition and the second set of wood steps that leads to the elevated wood deck?
Oh, let's see if I go to my drawing, I could scale that for you. Give me a minute, I'll let you know when I get to that point. Okay, it's about 10 feet or so to the edge of this, the beginning portion of the step to where the new garage footprint encroaches on the existing deck.
Okay, now the proposed garage, is that going to consist of one or two garage bays?
Just one.
So it'll be used to get one vehicle into the garage, so it's parked out of the elements.
Correct. It's also going to be, it's a 1.5 car, so that way we can also store, say, like a riding lawnmower and some lawn equipment in there as well.
Okay, and I guess it's safe to assume that there is no garage structure on the property at this point.
That's correct.
Okay. And then, other than that bit of sidewalk being removed, the increase in pervious surface is to be offset by, is it a rain garden or a seepage pit?
I had originally suggested to my client that rain garden would be a nice feature to have. But when I did the calculations and realized the extent to 100-year flood delineation, I realized that may not be possible or easily. Yeah, it could still be possible, but it'd be harder because we only have a limited amount of space on the very northwestern corner of the property. Sorry.
And it's in the northwest corner of the properties where you intend to put the stormwater drainage facility?
Yeah, but we may be able to sneak it underneath a new portion of the driveway if we can grade properly and maybe raise the garage elevation of it. So the bottom of the seepage pit can stay above the 1 foot above the flood elevation. It gets technical, so I don't want to bore you with that, but we'll work it out with the town engineer if that's agreeable to you.
Okay, but at the very least, it's going to be in that northwest corner area.
Yeah, I don't see another way
Okay,
based on the existing elevations.
that's all I have. Thank you.
Is there anybody online that wants to comment?
There's no public comment online.
I actually have more questions.
Okay, that's fine. I was just asking because we had a little gap there. Go for it.
The existing shed, have we established a rear setback? It looks like it could be possibly too close to the rear property line, and that may need an variance as well.
Yeah, it's got a triple frontage too, so it's the rear quarter. So there's really no way to put this thing. So yeah, I think you're absolutely correct.
But we may need a variance, correct?
We need a variance for its placement.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
As well as it's in drainage easement.
And this is the sticky part of the ordinance, that fourth of the lot furthest removed from the road. Technically, that's impossible to place anywhere on the lot. I didn't interpret that as needing necessarily an ordinance, but maybe we can check with Adam, maybe for clarity, it might be good just to put that in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a triple frontage road, a parcel. It's one of the rare few in the town, so I think.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Where are you gonna put it?
From the traffic roads.
Right, exactly. You have any input on that, Adam?
So we're saying that because they don't have the shed is just to exist, but it's not in the requested variances for putting it somewhere other than the
No,
rear quarter lot?
Is the fact that they're requesting a variance for the shed and the fence enough, or do we need to clarify it's also a setback because it's frontage on Big Oak Road, Gordon Drive and Valley Drive, so the rear quarter doesn't even exist where it should be placed. Do we need to get more specific on the variance, or is just the fact of as placed, is that good enough?
No, I mean, I think they're already the variance covers the shed.
It's really
And
a
the fence.
setback issue.
Okay, so
Oh, so you're saying it's not 69.8, you're saying it's a setback, not the fence, or excuse me, not the shed itself.
Correct. I mean, should we have language in the variance about setback?
yeah, I mean, there's the fence issue too.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's two potential sections that you can put it in, but I don't know that it's really necessary because you're kind of addressing the same issue. You're just could say it two different ways or two different sections.
Okay.
Kind of, if you wanted to do it, you could. There would be nothing wrong with that. But as it is, I think it's okay.
Let's just do it as a.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Well, my only other question is, do we need language about if for some reason this easement needs to be accessed, even though it's a drainage easement, but for whatever reason, that if the shed has to be removed or the fence has to come down, that the owner's responsible for reinstalling both the fence and the shed?
That's always a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, we usually do it for the other, I don't know if it's. Yeah, I mean, I guess technically for a drainage easement, they might need to access it as well. We usually see it with the other kinds, but there's no reason you can't have that language in there.
Matt, you're all over this motion, buddy.
Really? All right. You good? Do you have any more questions?
No more questions.
I'll make a motion to approve appeal 22-1978 as submitted, subject to the owner recognizes that he or she is responsible for removal and replacement of the shed and the wood fence within the drainage easement. If the township needs access. And the owner mitigates the 20.5 impervious back to 17.8%, subject to review and approval by the township engineer.
I'll second.
Any comment that sounds complete to me with what the discussion was? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Appeal 22-1978 is approved as just stated. You're free to go.
Thank you so much.
I'm not sure.
Okay, next up is Appeal 22-1980. If you can get them in the room. Or is that our guests and our couple? Which one are you guys here for? 81, okay.
Mr. Solar, I'm not participating in the last two matters, so I will be seeing you. Have a nice evening.
I don't think you're in it today.
Yeah. Is Mr. Waldman or Hydroscape online?
We do not have anyone online for 22-1980.
Okay, well, we'll set it aside for a couple minutes and do 22-1981 then and see if they make it in. Or if they got distracted by a baseball game.
Might be there.
Come on up and get you sworn in.
And we have Frank with us
Oh,
online
you're
as well.
commenting. Okay, all right, commenting. All right, is the appellant for 22-1981 online?
Yes, he is. Frank's with us online. Frank, it's *6 to
Okay.
unmute.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you state your name and be sworn in?
My name is Frank Meddy.
Frank, do you solemnly swear testimony about to give will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, Adam, you want to read the exhibits in?
Yeah, just a few. Applications A1, site plans are A2, proof of publications B1, proof of posting is B2, and B3 is the notice to the neighbors.
Okay, Mr. Matei, do you want to explain what it is you're looking for here?
Yeah, so we just moved to the township 2 months ago, and we're looking to have a fence put in our backyard, and found out through the plot plans that there is a 100-year floodplain easement that runs diagonally through our yard. So that's why we applied for the variance, to see if we can put a post and rail fence on the floodplain easement to kind of square off our backyard. We have a dog, 2 little kids. We just kind of want to keep them contained if possible.
Hey, does anybody in the board have questions?
I just wanted to clarify, when you say post and rail, is it a split rail that you're installing or stockade?
Yes,
style?
a split rail. Split rail, either PVC or wood, but I think we're if we're approved, we're going to go with a wood split rail with the mesh wiring on it.
Township have any concerns about restricting flood flow with a split rail style fence?
No, and actually, this floodplain easement, I'm not sure exactly how it got on the plan 30 some years ago. But this area is not necessarily within a floodplain. It's about 90 feet away from the stream. and the floodplain waters don't go that far. I think it was just an old study where they drew a line on a map and then they put an easement around that. So the township has no concerns about the flow of water going through there.
I have no further questions.
Okay, I believe there's public comments, so
On up.
come on up to a microphone.
Welcome to the neighborhood. My name is Hazel Smith and I live next door.
Hey,
Hazel
Hazel.
Smith. Smith,
Ma'am, do you solemnly swear testimony about to give will be the truth, so we got?
yes.
Thank you.
So again, welcome to the neighborhood. So we're requesting to have on our side a solid fence. My husband is petrified of dogs and everyone says, oh, my dog is so nice and so friendly. Well, we just want to be good neighbors and, you know, we don't want to go outside and the dog sees us and starts barking. And that's why we're asking. The other side of the neighbor has the white solid fence and you could still do that barnyard fence in the back and it'll still look pretty. So that's what we're wishing for.
You have any objection to that?
So my only objection to that is that I think we went the split rail option because the whole issue with the floodplain easement is not to restrict the flow of water, correct? So that's why we went the post and rail or split rail fence route, because we didn't think that there would be an issue with that. So if we're going to go to the route where it's a full privacy fence, I mean, to me, that would restrict the flow of water, correct? I mean, we have our neighbors to the right of us have that, but the floodplain runs behind their yard. So, I mean, I don't necessarily want a privacy fence. That wasn't the intention to get a fence. It was just to contain our dog. I do think it would look super awkward having, you know, the left side a privacy fence and then the back of our yard, the split rail. I definitely wouldn't go that route unless it was maybe PVC on the left and PVC in the back. But again, that would be, like I said, I went the post and rail option or the split rail option because it wouldn't, or at least I didn't think it would restrict the flow of water and we would be approved for that. I didn't think we would get approval for a full privacy fence.
I mean, the
Jim,
applicant
is he correct in that?
Yes, typically we'd like to have the fences open. When we looked at this a little bit closer and looked at elevations, I don't believe a solid fence along the side would restrict the flow of water. It's about 90 feet, I think, from the stream up to the fence. So I think that's really up to the applicant on if he's okay with a solid fence. The township has no objection to that.
And I would say that I don't think we mandate that he puts a solid fence in. So that's
Correct.
I understand that part.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a negotiation you would, if this variance is granted, you and your neighbor could possibly enter into, but we don't have the governance to mandate what type of fence he puts in.
Hazel, we have no objection to the solid fence. I mean, it does probably double or triple our costs, but I mean, there's no objection. I completely understand where your husband comes from. You know, yeah, we can, if we're approved for either the PVC or privacy fence or a split rail. I mean, we could, we have no, you know, we're no gripes about that. That's no problem on our end.
Well, we would greatly appreciate it. We're very quiet, private people. We, you know, we're like been there like 12 years and we're like quiet, private. You know, so my husband, if he wasn't had this problem with the dogs, it would be zero problems. And the other side of me, They have the white fence and they have a big German Shepherd. So it's sort of like, it is a nightmare for my husband getting in and out of the car. And like,
What we can do as part of the motion would be to allow for the privacy fence, given
Yeah.
it is shown as a floodplain easement.
So,
I'd make a motion that you can construct a fence regardless of, of manufacturer or of style. Is that
Yeah.
what-
That makes the most sense.
And then it's open to you as to what you want to install.
yeah, my husband was asking how far the fence was going to go. It's going to line up with the other fences in the backyard. And if he does do a, I'm sorry, the split rail, you'll still have that view to go straight back. So that would be, would be still nice because you still have the white fence on the other side of you. But I greatly appreciate anything you can do to help. And I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any comment online?
There is no public comment online.
Thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve appeal number 22-1981 as presented with the caveat that the owner can install any style fence to his choosing.
It still meets the height requirement, still.
Yeah, it has to meet the height requirement.
I'll second.
That's maximum. Maximum. It could be lower. There's no minimum. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Appeal 22-1981 is approved as stated here. Is. Go ahead.
Mrs. Smith, you can take this with you if you want. It shows you where the fence is going to be.
Okay, do we have anybody online for appeal 22-1980 at this point?
We do not have anyone online.
That's unusual because they come before us a lot.
Yeah, I know. No, I think, I don't know.
You
I'll
want to
make a
just
motion.
continue it?
I think
to
we'll just
the
continue
15th?
with it. The hydroscape's been pretty good in the past, so.
I'll make a motion to continue 22-1980 to the 15th. The room on the button.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Appeal 22-1980 is continued to November 15th.
All right.
And there is no other business. Well, maybe we need to do a board reorganization, or something, so we can keep Adam on here.
Killing me, Peter. I appreciate you indulging me.
Have we discussed Adam's vacation policy? I know the board needs to make some comments on this.
Yeah,
Senior member of your firm with you?
no, just me.
Boy.
Make a motion to close the meeting,
Yeah, motion to adjourn, yes.
whatever it's called. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So we're done for this week and see everybody in 2.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Night.